Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings. Yay! Well, not really.
Aww.
But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
Hey, buddy. Rah. Hey, man, that's a sweet heavy metal happy hour t-shirt. Where'd you pick that up?
Thanks, dude. I got it at the Toxic Radio shop.
Toxic Radio has a shop?
Yeah, dude. It's in the app or online at toxicradio.net.
That is sweet.
Yeah, and I also got a rockin' Toxic Radio hoodie and a Red Band Underground shirt. Dude, I'm gonna look so rockin' at the party tomorrow.
Well, I think you look pretty now.
Oh, wait, what?
The Toxic Radio shop is the place to get all your Toxic Radio gear. Shirts, hoodies, stickers. Find it at toxicradio.net or on the app. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic. Hey, where you going, man?
Everybody, welcome to the internet version of Hungry for Hope. We're going virtual today. We have, a great show as usual in store for you. Let me introduce myself first. I am one of the co-hosts. The other one's having a little bit of technical difficulties, but Donnie should be on in a little bit. But if you don't know it, my name is Big Time Tim. And I'm here with Yianni the Greek. What's up, Yianni?
What's going on, Tim? Another great entrance as usual. And just every day that passes, we're reminded that we're sitting in the middle of a pandemic and some things we got to change. And those of us who can adjust are the ones who are thriving. And sometimes we got to just deal with what this COVID situation is bringing us. And today it's taking Donnie away from us while he's figuring out his issues over there. But that's all right, Tim. We do have a good show for the folks today, and I'm ready to get started.
You know what? I respect Donnie. As soon as he realizes technical difficulties, true showman. He's like, the show must go on.
Absolutely.
Get the show kicked off. We're not going to be a minute late, but Mike had us maybe a minute or two late. But it's fine. I'm not going to throw Mike under the bus. You know what I mean? There's no point to it. That he dropped the ball, letting everybody know that. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, no, there's no point in just like throwing Mike under the bus for all of the technical difficulties that he's provided us. But no, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to just give you guys a show and listen. Donnie's a good quarterback, right? He got to the line, he saw what's happening out here, so he definitely called an audible. Tim, I guess he handed you the ball. I don't know if that's the right play, but that's what we're going with.
Well, like Doug Peterson, he makes a lot of bad choices in game time.
So now, are you the Carson Wentz? Are you going to get on here and change the call regardless of what Donnie said, just because that is spite?
Really, it's just like fuck them all. He wants to be a spoiled little bitch and do that kind of stuff. It does make Doug look bad because he was probably making the wrong calls. But Doug was a punk and let it happen. So I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, listen, out of that situation, we're probably never going to know the full truth. You saw after Doug was let go, basically half the players were on his side and half weren't. Clearly, the locker room was split. So that's what happens when a locker room split like that. The team is forced to take sides, and then our media here in Philadelphia, they forced us as the fans to take sides, and that sucked, and it made for a bad season. But this team is in need of a big restart, and next year is a good time for the Eagles to restart. Let's all put away our hatred for Carson Wentz after what he looked like this year. It looks like the organization is going to force him to be our quarterback. So Tim, I guess we're going to have to put on that number 11 jersey and root him on.
Yeah, now, what are you thinking if you're Jalen Hurts, right? Now, he did blow the Dallas game, cost me a lot of money. Looked horrible. I put that basically on him and Doug. One of them had to go for it. Somebody had to pay the price.
No, you're right.
But what are you thinking if you're Jalen Hurts? Do you think you have a fair chance? Is there going to be a quarterback competition? Or do you think Jeffrey Lurie already signed that Wentz's start and just by firing Peterson?
I think Jalen is a realist. I think he understands where the position he is in right now, right? As the number 2 quarterback, and he's going to have to fight and scrap for everything, every snap he's going to get next season. But, that's who Jalen is. That's who he's had to be after that Tua Tagovailoa benching in the national championship game. Jalen's been fighting that ever since. He's been fighting that stigma that's been put on him that he just wasn't good enough because Tua came in and won that game. That's who he's going to be. He's going to carry that chip on his shoulder forever. So I don't think sitting behind a guy is going to matter. I think he's going to fight and he's going to work. And if he's the better man, he's going to be the better man. And whoever that coach ends up being, just better make the right decision based on who looks better in training camp. It's that simple.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it seems that simple, but I think there's going to be more to meets the eye to that. But how's Howie Roseman still standing? He's the little, like I'm already having nightmares, cold sweats, waking up thinking about this draft and the number 6 draft pick. That guy from Alabama, the Heisman Trophy winner, the wide receiver, he's going to fall right to us. And we're going to take some obscure, probably would have went in the 7th round wide receiver because Howie thinks he's smarter than everybody.
It's early on in the draft process, right? But it seems pretty likely that one of Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase is going to be sitting there at the number 6 pick. Either of those 2 players will do for me at this point in time in the process. They both make this offense a little more explosive, a little better. Certainly give us another playmaker on the outside that this team desperately needs. We saw how limited this offense gets once you take away the top target. And if you don't run the ball, forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to the draft. I'm not looking forward to I don't know what the Eagles are in. I feel like we're in rebuild mode. Hold on while I fix this lighting real quick. I apologize to everybody watching. All right, there's a little better.
There we go.
So I don't know. I mean, we got the Sixers, we got the Flyers. Let's talk about the Flyers, man.
We got
Starting
plenty
off
of
the season just wrecking Pittsburgh.
We got plenty of live sports going on. We don't have to worry about that dead Eagles team, not for another month or so until the process heats up. But yes, let's talk about those Flyers, Tim. 3-1 as we sit today. Two-game series they played. One against the Pittsburgh Penguins, one against the Buffalo Sabres. Monday against the Sabres did not look great. The Sabres really took it to the Flyers. Some questionable refereeing in that game, but I'm not going to pin that one on the refs. You lose 6-1. You lost 6-1. You know what I mean? And yes, maybe the Carter Hart penalty turns that game, but I don't think they just didn't have it, right? This is hockey. It's another professional team coming at you. But credit this Flyers team for being able to turn it around the next day, and with Brian Elliott starting in net, making 40 saves, Tim, with a shutout, and the Flyers win 3-0. Great way to start the season. Absolutely. Really good to see Moose, even at his advanced age, really good backup. My biggest concern, Tim, if I had to have one, and you know how critical I am of this team, I want to see Carter Hart dominate. To me, for my money, Carter Hart's probably been one of the worst Flyers in these 3 period games. I mean, I don't know how you think about that. Again, maybe I'm looking at it a bit harshly. But that's where my expectations are for him. I expect him to be the best goalie in hockey.
And he's going to be. There's no preseason. There's none of that. He's getting off to a little bit of a shaky start. Still winning games, 1-2 out of the 3.
Sure.
And then,
definitely.
You know what? We're blessed. We got a great backup goalie in Elliott. We got my girlfriend, Mel, was telling me yesterday we got 2 guys that are really good in the minors or the practice squad, whatever they're doing this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're good. We're good with
No,
goalie.
we got the depth. No, and again, don't get me wrong. I'm not worried about Carter Hart. It's just I need to see that big dominant game from him that gets me all pumped up and ready for this Flyers season. But a great start.
Can you imagine what it feels like getting a hat trick and have nobody in the stands and only Gritty? Well, Gritty's the man. He's the only one to throw a hat on that ice.
That was great. It puts a whole new meaning.
That hat trick, I would think.
It puts a whole new meaning to hat trick. A single hat trick. That's it. One hat. That's all you get in 2021, I guess. Just another quirk of this strange time in the world we're going through here. I thought it was hilarious, honestly, when I saw the single hat sitting on the ice. There's Mo coming in. Taxi squad is what they're calling it this year. Mo, one of the big Flyers fans of the show. Shout out.
So let's talk a little UFC then, right? We got a big fight coming up. We got the return. Conor McGregor, he's going to be facing Dustin Poirier, the Diamond, in a rematch. McGregor made light work with him last time, but Poirier's been ripping through the competition. And McGregor's been off for 19 months. You figure before that, it was his loss to Khabib. He had a lot of time off. Then he wiped out Cowboy Cerrone in 49 seconds, a minute, something like that. And then he waited another 19 months to fight again. And he's fighting a top-level guy. So you got to think. You got to worry about the ring rust. He hasn't been active at all in the past couple of years.
Well, Tim, he opens up McGregor. Conor McGregor does as a minus 325 favorite. Poirier plus 250 on the money line there.
It's a style. It's a style. It's how they match up. He's not going to be able to throw hands with McGregor unless McGregor got old overnight, which, can happen, especially taking that much time off. He's going up in age. He's been in a lot of big fights. We see it time and time again. A guy could look like he's in his prime, and then his next fight, it's not there anymore, or it's not at that level that he needs to be at to beat guys like Dustin. But I also
feel like it's at some point in time you become a celebrity that's like bigger than the sport you're playing, right? Or fighting anyway, right? So then Conor McGregor, this world type, all-star kind of athlete, but this is like a boxing, MMA, that kind of stuff, Tim, is all about pride and kind of grinding and fighting all those who like oppose you and everything like that, having that chip on your shoulder type of thing. And I wonder how much being that big a celebrity matters. It didn't matter for Floyd Mayweather, but how much does it matter for McGregor?
Someone goes ahead. Let's take a look at Adrian Broner, right? He was very quick. He was a dominant light heavyweight. Probably could have been a Hall of Fame all-time great, or lightweight. Sorry, not light heavyweight. He was just wiping people out, and he was just getting cockier and cockier in each fight, like he was untouchable. And then out of nowhere, he jumps from 135 straight to 147, skipping over that junior welterweight class that you normally work yourself up to the 147. 147 had the big money fights at the time. He moves up there, and he's just never been the same since. He's like making rap videos. I remember he like released a sex tape of himself with strippers. Like he was just living that life. He
released his own sex tape.
He
released his own sex tape. Now that's a baller move a little bit. Usually somebody else leaks it or something. This guy's like, no, check this out. I mean, you gotta respect it.
And then they would put him in there, like people still tune in to watch him. They'll put him in there against a guy he'll beat on his worst day, and then feed him up to somebody like Pacquiao or somebody like who else? There's a couple guys that just went into him that are slipping my mind right now, but Pacquiao comes to mind the most. He did all that shit talking before the fight and just got mopped.
It's tough. It's so tough. The boxing thing with the the shit talking, as you mentioned, and like these guys seem to manufacture like hate for each other, and some of it's real and some of it seems manufactured. But you have to. I can't imagine walking into the ring without that mentality.
You always know if it's real after the fight. If they get to embrace each other, it could have been a little animosity, but they were just doing their jobs trying to sell a fight.
Sure,
like Donnie, they're showmen also. Like they have to sell these fights. They need people to tune in to get these big paychecks, especially if they're pay-per-view fighters. Like that's the one thing that Terrence Crawford doesn't have going for him. And I talked about Terrence Crawford before. I truly believe he's the number one pound-for-pound fighter, but he doesn't get into that shit. He doesn't talk shit. He doesn't make a big deal. He doesn't throw money around. He's humble. He keeps to himself, and he just fights. He's about that action. He's not about that talk. Because he signed to the wrong promoter, who after his last fight said, I keep losing money on him because he won't promote himself. It's like, no, old man, that's your job to promote him and make him popular. Make people recognize he's the best fighter in the world, and everybody wants to see him over and over again on pay-per-view. Because the way he fights with both power and speed, it's insane. And he can take you out at any time, but he's also a slick fighter. He's a boxer puncher, and I don't know. I enjoy watching him. I've always enjoyed watching him. But because he doesn't sell fights like that, he's not going to make as much money as he deserves to make. That's my point.
So how much of that is on him and how much of it is on the promoter? Because if he's as talented as you're saying, right, wouldn't the cognoscenti of the sport, right, the people that know what they're looking at, that know that kind of talent, wouldn't they be pumping him up and pushing it? And or is it so reliant on the fighter to do so himself?
I mean, he's ranked top, at least in the top 3 everywhere, all the major rankings. Look, you got to look at it, right? The common denominator, Bob Arum. He's the promoter of Terrence Crawford. He was the promoter of Oscar De La Hoya before Oscar De La Hoya broke off, started Golden Boy, and really made the money that he was making that set him up for life. Same thing with Floyd. Floyd was still Pretty Boy Floyd until he bought himself out of that top-ranked contract for $75,000, I believe it was. And then he became Money Mayweather. He was up there talking shit. He called Arturo Gatti a club fighter before he went and beat him. He made him look worse than a club fighter. Just beat him I was cringing during that fight. That fight was that bad. But he made himself, he promoted himself. Maybe Crawford doesn't want to do that. Crawford just wants to fight. He's still making millions of dollars, so it's not like he's still a champion. He's still going to continue to make millions of dollars, but instead of making those $5-10 million, he's going to make that $2-3 million.
Sure, but we're talking about
He don't want the blood money. He doesn't want to not be himself, and he doesn't want to make a fool out of himself like some of these fighters do.
Yeah, and he can make a fine living off of that without, transcending the sport in the way of Floyd Mayweather or Conor McGregor, who we're talking about. So, Tim, I mean, what do you think? How do you think that fight goes? What do you see?
I mean, you figure they fought, 7 years ago or almost 7 years ago. And what was the result? Hold on, let me just think for a second. McGregor knocked him out in 1. So this time, I definitely believe people are probably going to disagree with me, but Conor McGregor will stop him in 2. A lot's changed in 7 years, but McGregor's hands are – you don't see much of that in MMA. You've seen it when he knocked out Aldo in the 13 seconds, and he just – some of these guys he just beat at will on his feet, like Eddie Alvarez. He was the champion at the time, lightweight champion. Just beat one of the top guys in the division to get that title. One of the guys that seemed unbeatable at the time, and McGregor came in there and made him look like a child. Cowboy Cerrone, even though he's past his prime, that dude was fighting like it seemed every month. And he would, even if he lost, he was finishing the fight or he was in the fight the whole time. Nah, McGregor beat him faster than anybody else did on his feet. If Poirier can't take him to the ground, McGregor's gonna wash him. I mean, it could be the same thing. It could end in the first round. I'm going to give Dustin a little bit more credit and say it goes to the second round this time. He might be a different fighter, but he's still catching them same hands.
I mean, my move is I always just pick the uglier fighter. I always think that works. It's been going well for me. So, but, run out to your books and put it in that second round finish, courtesy of Big Time Timmy.
Is that how you've been picking your football games recently? The
yes,
colors
uglier
that
team
like?
win. Uglier team wins. Yes, that's
Gotcha.
how it goes. Absolutely.
Well, if they're uglier, they try harder.
Well, here you go. I mean, it's a good time to listen to Big Time Timmy here because Tim, you're on fire in the NFL playoffs, bud. You're leading the standings here on the Hungry for Hope podcast. You have 7 correct picks against the spread in these games. So congratulations to you on that. I can't say the same.
You want to listen to me bitch about my parlay last week?
Sure. Why don't you tell the
So
people
remember,
what
take it back a couple weeks, right?
Let's
Let me tell a
take it
story. We take it back a couple weeks. Jalen Hurts versus the Cowboys. I've won every game. Problem is, I can't hedge my bet. I have Washington and the Eagles playing around the same time. Washington wins. You know what's going to happen the whole time. Hurts gets us up 14-3, and then bang, the slaughter begins. For a $25 bet on that, I think that one was a 10-game parlay. I missed out on $2,400 because the Eagles couldn't get the job done against the Cowboys.
CeeDee Lamb, had a big play. Michael Gallup went absolutely off against, basically me and you, Tim, playing in the Eagles secondary, and it looked like it, as Michael Jacket is going to be famous or infamous maybe in Eagles lore for a while. After that game, he had to be sat later on in the game, but it was just too little, too late. And like you said, Jalen Hurts, after going out to that big lead, wasn't able to sustain it, wasn't able to punch back, and the Eagles' season ended that day.
Yeah, we need to sell Michael's rights to the Montreal Alouettes.
Michael Jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, look who we got here.
He needs to go to Canada. But, oh, shit, Donnie's here. But hold on, let me finish my story real quick, Donnie, and then I'll introduce you. So they steal that money from my pocket, from my family's pocket, Jalen Hurts, Doug Peterson, whatever. You gotta kind of shake it off. But then I realized I'm a genius when it comes to picking parlays. So another one this weekend, I threw $15 down. Would have won $1,500. Ended up winning everything except for those Kansas City Chiefs. The second I seen that hit on Patrick Mahomes, I was like, he is not coming back in the game. Now I would have won that bet if he didn't get hurt. But when he did that stutter step and went back down, I was just like, I hope he's all right. I mean, I only lost $15. These guys are about to get knocked out of the playoffs by the Browns.
There was definitely a part in that game where I wanted the Browns to come back and win because thinking
at that point, I lost my money. I was like, it would be cool to see the Browns versus the Bills. No one would have expected that 10 years ago.
Thinking that Patrick Mahomes is going to miss the next game, I didn't want to be shortchanged in the AFC Championship game, but it looks like, Tim, that he's going to be all right. They say that the symptoms he was facing were more symptoms of being choked out rather than concussed and knocked out in that way. So he is still in the protocol. He's still practicing on a limited basis by himself, but it does look like he's going to be all right to play in that game. And I guess that transitions us right into the game. Buffalo travels to Kansas City, AFC Championship game.
Hold on, real quick. Now that he's on the line, he had a little bit of technical difficulties. Let me welcome on our co-host, the man who's made of hope himself, Reckless Donni Hart.
Timmy, Yianni, how we doing?
What's up, Donnie?
I'm having a little technical difficulties.
What are you calling in from the payphone around the corner? No, we hear you good, Donnie. I'm just messing with you. All right, so we got Yanni's about to break down talk a little playoffs. I mean, you're going to be still blessing our fans with your Friday thing, right?
Well, with only 2 games today, Tim, I think if you guys are ready to do our picks here, let's just do it right now for the fans. 2 games to talk about it. I do want to. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get when you get on the Hungry for Hope podcast here.
We don't. No guests needed. We just talk. We dropped the Friday show now. Merge them into the 2. You're going to get your picks right now for listening.
No guest. We got technical difficulties. Nothing's going to stop this train, Tim. Nothing's going to derail what we got going on here. Not even COVID.
I mean, we would have started on time if it wasn't for Mike, but
nothing except
I'm
Mike.
not going to throw him under the bus. Like I said, I'm not going to throw him under the bus. Nobody's perfect. He's been doing this forever, but nobody's perfect.
And he's dealing with some stuff himself there, so we hope Mike's all right. Thanks a lot, buddy. But yeah, let's get into the AFC Championship game as we lost Donnie there, but we'll wait until he gets back.
I hope he doesn't think I really thought he was at a payphone and his sound quality was fine. Actually, I kind of hope he does.
I think he's just struggling with his phone there. But he'll figure that out while we figure out what's happening here. And Kansas City opens up as a 3-point favorite. That indicates to me that they believe Patrick Mahomes is going to play. I do anticipate it changing a little bit just due to where money's going to go when Mahomes is activated for real, if, of course, he is. You just anticipate that once that news comes down, the line probably moves a point up to 4 just because all those people that were waiting for Mahomes to get the clearance are going to put their money in, and that's going to shift the line.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll give you my prediction now. I don't know about the line shifts. That's your thing.
That's what we're here for, Tim.
You're the betting expert. But I don't know. I just have this gut feeling. I know everybody wants to say, yeah, especially -3 for Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, defending Super Bowl champions, about to run it back-to-back with AFC championships. If karma is real or at all, Buffalo Bills, after what their fans did, their fans are the complete opposite of the Eagles fans. Let's keep it 100.
Their fans are great.
What their fans did, the Bills Mafia, karma's got to be on the Bills side. Josh Allen's on fire. That team's on fire. Diggs is on fire. Everybody. Everything's clicking together.
Oh, yeah.
And they donated what? They raised – Lamar Jackson gets hurt. The team that we beat, their quarterback gets hurt. Us fans in Philly would have been cheering relentlessly, probably making jokes online,
unfortunately, you're
friends,
right,
laughing about it. And then they instead find the charity that he donated to in the past off an article and then raise over $300,000 for that charity. The Bills better beat the Chiefs.
They're really great. And remember, the Bills fans did something similar when the Bills finally broke through and made the playoffs last year, where they needed the Cincinnati Bengals to win their game for Buffalo to get in, if you remember. And that was the first time they were in the playoffs in like 20 years or whatever the number was. So Bills fans, they weren't even playing against the Bengals, but they donated to Andy Dalton's charity that he was with the Bengals at the time, and he had a great game, won that game for them, and got them in the playoffs. They're fun. They're a fun bunch. They do deserve it. I'm happy for them. I know I picked against them last week, the Bills. It's nothing personal, but I like that Ravens team, and they seem like they're a team of destiny a little bit, Tim. Tightly played game last week against a hot Ravens team. Ravens defense played very well, probably one of their best games of the season, I would say. But that game comes down to Lamar Jackson driving down the field in the red zone for a chance to tie the game at 10, and he throws really one of the worst pick sixes you'll ever see, especially when you consider the moment. 101 yards later, the Bills are up 17-3, and that ball game's over. And then the next drive, as you said, Tim, Lamar smacks his head in the back of his head on the turf. Out he goes with a concussion, and the Bills are waltzing to the AFC Championship game.
Well, here's how I see it, right? Bills fans, they raised $300,000 for a charity over a team that they beat's quarterback getting hurt. Patrick Mahomes' inability to take a hit cost me $1,500, so I'm going Bills with the points.
There you go. And my official pick there is going to be the over. This feels like a game where it starts out first quarter. There's going to be like a feel-out type of thing, a few jabs here and there, and then something breaks, and then all of a sudden these teams are going to run off a bunch of points very quickly and really just shoot out at each other until the end of the game. And the team with the ball in their hand last probably wins this one. This is one of those. Is what it feels like.
This is one of those games you take the kickoff, you receive if you win that coin toss.
That's where, I don't want to stick on the Browns here, but that's where I thought the Browns made their biggest mistake. And I know they came back in that game after Mahomes leaves, but you can't put that offense on the field first and go down 7-0 in that game. When they've been resting and everything like that, Andy Reid has his pre-planned plays for the first half and the second half. He does now. I just thought that was the wrong decision there to defer And that's what the Browns ended up doing. Now, again, they end up coming back in that game, and we're having a whole different conversation, Tim, if Rashard Higgins just holds onto the ball as he's diving for the pylon, dirty hit or not. That game might have a whole different demeanor to it.
Just for shits and gigs, who do you think is going to score the first touchdown? Let's give our fans a little bit of a prop bet.
First touchdown in the Bills-Chiefs game. It feels like a Travis Kelce type of thing. All right, Kelce looked amazing last week. He just scorched the Browns. It feels like if the Chiefs are able to get the ball first, that they'll be able to work the middle of the field. Now, the Bills have some guys in the middle of the field, and they can really defend. Micah Hyde playing out of his mind, and, of course, Jermaine Edmonds, one of the most athletic linebackers in the whole National Football League. But Travis Kelce right now seems like he's playing at his top level, and I think he knows he has to. So I like Travis Kelce.
Wasn't playing good enough to cover that spread, though. So I'm going Josh Allen connects deep with Diggs. I would just say Diggs scoring the first touchdown, but I can envision it now. Probably 50-yard plus pass. They get the ball first, and they send the shivers down at this Andy Reid's back. You remember,
that's a great pick. It's a great pick.
He's lost more NFC championships than he's won coaching.
Sure. Stephon Diggs is playing out of his mind right now. I mean, he's quietly turning into one of the most clutch players in the league in big games and big moments. It feels like it's always Stephon Diggs. You remember he had the Minnesota Miracle. Was that a fluky play? Sure, but he did it and he scored and he was able to win that game for the Vikings.
Oh, another quick question before I forget. I had it written down here for you. Phillies fans, a couple of people were talking about it. I was talking about it with a couple of people at work. Earlier in the week, it was reported that they met with Real Muto, offered a decent-sized contract. Is he coming back to Philly?
I sure hope so. It looks like they're showing him the money. It sounds like he wants to stay here. It sounds like he's got a good relationship with the guys in the clubhouse. Certainly Bryce Harper always stands up for him when the conversation arises. So I think he wants to be here. I think he's good with the coach. It's hard. It's a hard sell for me because this front office has played games with him for 2 years now. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
how he feels about that, but
I think he wants to be here. I think he wants to play with Bryce Harper. Obviously, they're tight. Bryce was not quiet about wanting Real Muto back on the team, but I think Real Muto is going to make them pay for it. He probably would have took that offer that they gave him 2 years ago, a year ago, but they let him get the free agency. So now they're going to have to cough up some more money to get him to sign. But I hope ultimately he signs back to the Phillies. We need all the help we can get.
Sure, we're going to need all the bats because the bullpen hasn't really been fixed and it doesn't look like the pitching is going to be any better than we got last year.
I don't know. Every once in a while, something pops up from. Every once in a while, something pops up from ESPN about Phillies getting a reliever I never heard of. So, might be all right.
Relievers are weird like that.
We're doing the Howie Roseman plan.
Get a bunch of guys no one's heard of and see what happens. Is that the plan?
Number 21 pick? We take Jalen Reagor.
The relievers are a weird thing like that, where it's like such a hot hand kind of position, right? Where the guy you've never heard of is probably one of the best relievers going right now for another like 25 innings, and then his arm falls off and he just turns into another guy. It's so weird. Baseball longevity. It's so different for everybody and at every position.
It's like we'll see those rookies every once in a while. They'll start cracking home runs, and pitchers don't have them figured out yet. Then they go into the next season and they're just getting sparked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was the shelf life on Ryan Howard? I know we made him sit in the minors much longer than he should have been because Tomey was on our team.
Yep.
But I mean, his prime was amazing. It was amazing.
I think Howard came
no
up
steroids.
Something like that. He was old, Howard, when he got up here. I mean, relatively, of course.
Yeah, but I tell you what, if you're going to have a short prime, that's the prime you want to have.
Damn right. I don't think Ryan Howard's taken anything back from his career. Maybe that injury in that Cardinals game, but that's about it.
it broke my heart when he signed that minor league team at the end of his career. I think it was like Tampa Bay's one of their minor league teams. I was like, hate to see this. It was
And
a
Ryan
legend in
Howard
Philly.
also-
He deserved better.
And Ryan Howard also had himself a good time at the local bars around here. We've seen him a few times, always indulging and having a good time. So looks like he enjoyed, his life living here in the Delaware Valley.
We enjoyed having him here.
We did.
Those were the
We
better
definitely
days of the Philadelphia Phillies.
did. And there's good days for the Philadelphia 76ers, Tim, if you'd like to get into that.
Yes, that I agree with.
I think this has quickly become the new Hungry for Hope sports special. But the Sixers 9-5, playing Boston as we speak. Is currently holding a small lead, 5-point lead, 26-21. Sixers out to a pretty good start, Tim. Besides some COVID-related sitting, I don't know, absences anyway. We seem to be past that, although Seth Curry is out today. And the Sixers are playing hot. I love this bench. I think I've mentioned it before. They come out, they play real hot. That you have Tyrese Maxey now kind of coming into his own, really turning into a superstar. This is an exciting team. They're going places. I'm not even worried about the games Embiid has to sit and the fact that we haven't really seen Embiid and Simmons and everyone all together. I'm not worried about it. I think.
You talking about Mr. Glass?
I call him the big baby. Sometimes he's got to go and get his rest. You got to get the baby his rest.
Call him Mr. Can't Get Right.
Embiid, well, when he is right, though, he's one of the rightest players in the league and really changes the whole look of this team. You see it.
Consistency, man. He can't be taken off every other game or in stretches like that. He's a star player.
At this point, this is who he is. I think we kind of know he just has to sit those games. That doesn't make it all right for me. I'm not sitting here making excuses with him. Like I said, I call him a big baby.
He's soft as a pillow.
But when Joel Embiid is playing basketball for the 76ers, they are a much better team. They're a scary team. They're a team that's tough to defend. And when he's not there, they're just not. They're not. I'm not even too sure that they're a good team when Joel Embiid's not.
I think Doc Rivers has been a great addition, right? He's getting the most out of Tobias Harris, more than I thought we were going to say. We got Maxey. We got a couple other guys coming off the bench that were performing excellent. They were right in that game with only 7 players. And then we're the city of Philadelphia. We're gritty. We're tough. We fight. When I look at Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, I see soft. I see pillows. I see little cotton balls or cute puppies. They don't have the heart. They don't have that drive.
Ben Simmons is really starting to get on my radar. I've been one of the biggest Ben Simmons excuse makers in the city here, as in the fan base. I've been making excuses for him, just saying, give him a chance, let him acclimate, let him whatever. We need to see him, especially in these games, Tim, that we're talking about with no Embiid. I need to see him dominate. And that doesn't need to be in scoring. I hate to be that guy that because he's not scoring, I don't think he's playing well. That's not the case. But when Embiid's not there, something has to change, and he's got to take it. He's just, really, number one, protect the ball more because those possessions mean more. And number two, he's got to just be a little more aggressive. The other day, he's being covered by Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen's like my size. You got to take that guy to the cup like a bunch of times until they stop it, until they start fouling you. It's something. You just have to, at some point in time, you need to be the aggressor. I know that's not his game, but at some point in time, you need to be like, I'm here. I'm a force. You need to do something to stop me. And if you don't, I'm going to embarrass you. And that's just not what he's got. It's not what he's shown so far anyway.
Now, when I was going over in my head this quote that I keep thinking of with Ben Simmons. I'm going to let you know what it is, but I altered it a little bit at the end. So in the words of modern day philosophers, Mobb Deep, sun shook, ain't no such thing as halfway crook, scared to death, scared to shoot.
Man, that was beautiful. It brings a tear to my eye a little bit. I'm just kind of trying to get it together after that, man. I didn't know you had
need
this.
To get it together.
I didn't know you had this kind of depth, Tim. You're really showing.
I don't know why I'm so angry about Ben Simmons and Embiid tonight. It's because I keep hearing Embiid's missing games, and I'm just like, you're the complete opposite of what Philly is. Like, cowboy up, play the games, earn your money, earn your paycheck. At least you're not bitching on Twitter about everything anymore. But
I hear you, but at full strength, this is a team to be reckoned with, and I think as we get later on in this weird COVID season, right, the NBA does not really have it together with the COVID thing. It was good last year that they did the bubble, and that allowed them to finish their season, but right now they're having a ton of problems all over the league, just getting games in. You got postponements every day. So they've already cracked down now and adjusted their COVID protocols and everything like that. So we'll kind of see where it goes from here, if maybe the cases lighten up. But yeah, they really got to get it together if they were going to get this season in fully.
Look, we're going to get to the playoffs. We got the talent to get us to the playoffs, but do we got the heart to win us the championship? That's going to be the question.
We'll see.
What I would do if I was Doc Rivers, and then I'm done complaining about it. If I was Doc Rivers, when Embiid's healthy and ready to come back the next time he pulls something like that, start Dwight Howard and sit him.
I mean, I understand the theory, but you just can't sell that to the other players.
I mean, Brett Brown created these monsters. Just letting them do whatever.
You're not wrong about that. You are not wrong about that. Yeah, Brett Brown just allowed it for too long for them to just dictate when they're going to play and how they're going to play and all that. And yeah, you're definitely right. Those habits need to be coached out.
It just reminds me of the Doug Peterson thing. Wentz sitting there calling plays to make him look bad, calling audibles. First time he did that, Peterson should have ran out on the field and pulled him off and put Jalen Hurts in.
But at the same time, last year's team, the problem, while it was Hart, the bigger problem was a talent deficiency. I had fans in Philadelphia telling me how good the Sixers team was last year. And I'm just like, how? I don't know. Have you watched any other teams? The team wasn't deep. They weren't very good at defense. They didn't play hard every night. I didn't see it last year, and I don't see those same problems this year. I see a lot of talent, and I just think a few things need to be tweaked. A few attitudes need to get adjusted in the right way. And the later we get in the season, I think you're going to see just how good this team can really be.
Yeah, but we got players out there, like, let's go back to it. Maybe the first time in the season we're bringing them up, but Jimmy Butler, he's a kind of win at all costs. Like, he wants to win no matter what. I don't see that in what should be our franchise players. Maybe in the rest of the team. The rest of the team's scrappy. They went in 7 deep and gave it to that team. They didn't get the win, but they fought. They could have just, chalked it up as a practice, chalked it up as an L, but they didn't want to do that. They had something to prove.
For sure.
And that's what made that game special.
This is where I trust the coaching staff to have that mentality by the time the playoffs roll around, to have that mentality instilled in these players. And I sincerely don't think we see the same effort issues down the stretch that we did last year.
And if we don't see that passion, if we don't see that we'll do anything to get the win, to win the championship, what do we do? We got 2 what are supposed to be franchise players.
That's $1 million question.
Don't get me wrong. I'm glad we didn't trade for James Harden. He's a cancer. It would have just turned out to be horrible. We don't need any more of that on our teams.
Nice little start for them out there in Brooklyn. But again, that remains to be seen. And it looks like Kyrie Irving's going to rejoin the team now. So everything's okay on that front, Tim. I know you were really worried about Kyrie and his mental health. I know
that dude.
You just stay up all night. You're just hoping that he's all right, Kyrie. Real stressful life the guy lives.
I was saying soft and pillows a lot, but I think Kyrie Irving might be the worst of them. He might trump Embiid and Simmons. But speaking, because I'm not going to get into sports this whole time. We're not a sports show. But speaking of trumping somebody, we're going to talk about Mike's favorite president leaving office yesterday, and he did a spree of pardons. Yeah, and commuted a bunch of sentences. Now, see, the hope part, and the part that I want to talk about to get at least some sort of decent message off of this show, there was a lot of people in there that were, and I read through every single pardon. Now I'm going to make my jokes about why wasn't Joe Exotic pardoned. I needed another season of that Tiger King show. Lil Wayne definitely just campaigned for him so he could get a pardon. He probably traded pardons for campaigns to some of those people. Kodak Black, I'm pretty sure he did some real shitty shit before that last charge, but he got pardoned. Cool. But I mean, the real MVP pardons were these people that are sitting in jail for like marijuana distribution on 30-year sentences, and he's commuting them, or he's getting them out, and he's pardoning them. So these people have a chance to go get a job. They're not going to fail a background check. He's giving a lot of people second chances, and that's what the Hungry for Hope nonprofit's all about, right? You get that second chance, and a lot of people that we're going to be working with, they're not going to be able to get that pardon they have to work through the criminal record. But there's a lot of people, you say what you want about him. He could be a piece of shit. He could not be. I really don't care about politics. I don't pay attention. It is what it is. It's like a giant soap opera. You watch it, you eat some popcorn. The debates were funny as hell, but he's shown that he was human. These pardons, there was a lot of pardons, a lot of females that were in jail for distribution of drugs for like life sentences, where today they would be sentenced to 10 years in prison. Like if that came across, he pardoned a bunch of people that, based off today's standards, if they were sentenced, the minimum sentences are 10 years. People were sentenced to 30 years, life, 50 years. He was giving them complete pardons, letting them back to their families, giving them a chance at a second life to get a job, they spent a lot of time behind bars. They spent a lot of time locked up, 10, 15, 20 years. There's even like 73-year-old men that he was pardoning and letting out of jail. Like, it was crazy, but at least they get to live the rest of their years with their family. I mean, it is what it is. The judicial system failed a lot of these people, putting them in jail for life. Things like that are legal today. It just blows my mind. But at least he went out. He probably did a lot of dickhead stuff. A lot of people don't like him. I don't know. I don't like his face, if that counts for anything. But
I don't like how divided the country became. That doesn't have as much, I don't think, to do with him as it did to people's reaction to him.
Donnie would be screaming at you right now for getting all political. I'm talking about second chances. You're talking about dividing fucking countries and trying to start a civil war on Hungry for Hope.
I just wanted to talk about the NFC and AFC championship game, Tim. You're the one talking that brought up Trump.
Right? Are you about to segue from dividing the country into the NFC AFC championship, please?
Sure,
I'll let you continue.
I found a way to do it.
Segue, you got it.
So, just like no, finish up.
Well, just finish the Hope bomb. We're just gonna drop it real quick and then it's done. But like we said, this is what Hungry for Hope's all about: is getting those people to second chances. These people got a I don't want to say they got a higher blessing, because I don't want to downplay the 10 years, the 20 years they spent in jail, but they truly get a second chance. They get to live life. They don't have to worry about failing the background checks. I mean, unless they have anything else on them, but I don't know particulars. But they get that second chance. So at least he did something. Like, hate him, love him, be a weirdo about him. I don't give a fuck. Delete me as a friend on Facebook. I don't care. Whatever. Or add me. Whatever. Follow the show, hit the like button, listen every Wednesday at 7 o'clock right here on the Hungry for Hope Facebook page and on Toxic Radio. But you got to respect the fact that he giving people the chance to redeem themselves, get that second life. And that's what, like I say it over and over again. That is literally what the Hungry for Hope mission is all about, what the nonprofit is all about, giving second chances to people. And, dogs once in a while to get those animals adopted. We do what we can with that. But the ability to give people a second chance. So hats off Trump to at least going out with a little dignity and doing the right thing with a lot of these pardons. Some of them are clearly got paid something for or had some political agenda. But for the people that aren't in the newspaper, that nobody remembers, that nobody cares about, or only their family care about, nobody was fighting for them. For those people that got that second chance, you're a hero, and you did the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, those people get to sleep in, their or a bed like a real actual mattress bed.
Or you get to
You know
see
what I
their
mean?
family.
In their home, they get to see their family, and yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's a good way to go out. There's the Trump era won't be marked by that, but you know what? Let's all just put it behind us and kind of come together.
You should have freed Joe Exotic though. I don't know, Mike. You should have talked to your
Maybe,
boy. Sent him like an official Toxic Radio letterhead pardon request for Joe Exotic. I needed that second season, man.
They need to do season 2 like in prison. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how's it going in there? Does he have tigers in there, or does he have like I don't know, some sort of like bears? I don't know what they allow in prison. I assume
Or
it's
is
not
he
going.
somebody's pet tiger?
I
Who
assume it's not
knows?
going very well for him in prison. I'm just gonna guess out there. I don't know how these things work, Tim. All right, Tim. We got 10 minutes left, so we go from
Because
giving a
Mike
little.
started the show late. That's why we have 10 minutes. That's right.
That's right. Just a little bit
Not
late.
going to hold it against them.
In our time. It's fine. No problem. The first game, actually, of the championship round, Tampa Bay travels to Green Bay as Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers face off for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Tim, Green Bay 3-point favorites at home, 51.5-point total. Where you at?
Well, one of the funniest memes I seen this week was Tom Brady has been to more NFC championships than the Dallas Cowboys in 27 years. And Tom Brady, really all he knows how to do is win. I mean, he's taken some L's. He's lost some games, lost a big game here or there. But for the most part, he's consistent. He wins. He just retired Drew Brees. So,
Man, it was sad watching Breeze play like that in that second half.
And that offense, it can be scary good, but Green Bay's offense is scary good. Green Bay's got the talent, but they're playing Tom Brady. I'm going the Bucks.
All right, Tim. Rodgers trying to complete the biggest FU season in NFL history, I think. The organization, it was perceived that they told him that they're kind of ready to move on from him, with the drafting of a quarterback in the first round, not getting him a skill player other than A.J. Dillon, who, obviously they have Aaron Jones there, so they were all right at running back. All Packers fans wanted a number 2 receiver that was legitimate. Rodgers is making it happen with these guys that he's got. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Devontae Adams playing right now is, a top 2 receiver in the league. If you want to talk about him and Stephon Diggs are really kind of just winning their matchup every single week this season.
Same thing with Hill, too. He's been nasty.
Yeah, Hill's been very good. So for me, I think I'm going to go with the destiny here. This seems like Rodgers is on a mission. It seems like he's really trying to end his career, and his career is coming to an end, but he's going to try to end it on top. He's been one of the greatest yet somehow underrated players in our generation. I don't even know how that makes sense, but if you think about it, somehow he doesn't come up because they're not winning all the time. You have to remind people that, hey, Aaron Rodgers is amazing, right? Like, he's doing stuff at quarterback that's rarely seen. So they're doing something special. My pick is going to be the Packers -3 to cover at home. A couple notes on this game. The first time these teams met this year was in Tampa Bay. That was a 38-10 Buccaneers win. Really dominant. It reminded me a lot of the 49ers game that the Packers played last year. If you remember, they went to San Francisco in the regular season. They got absolutely smoked. Rodgers called his teammates out for partying the night before, not being focused, everything like that. And then eventually they saw the Niners again in the NFC Championship game and lost again. I think the eerie similarities between last year and this year with this Packers team are just that. They're very creepy. It's weird that this same situation, but because of how this Packers season has gone, I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect. It's a perfect way to erase what happened last year and, avenge the bad loss that, got away from them, and this time head to the Super Bowl, and we'll see.
By any chance, you know how many games in a row Mike Evans has caught touchdowns?
A lot. I don't know about
I
in a
feel like
row,
it-
but
I feel like it's been a lot of games in a row. Like paying attention, I've had him on my fantasy team, and even these past couple of weeks after I won one championship, got knocked out of 2 playoffs. Evans has been catching a touch. It's almost automatic.
Mike Evans is a great receiver. I mean, you talk about the physicality he brings to the position, not to mention his athleticism and the way he's able to separate in the air if he needs to, like contort his body and like twist and make the catch, at its highest point. He's one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league at that, separating in the air. Mike Evans is playing really good. He finally got one over on Marshawn Lattimore last week, where he got that touchdown. Marshawn Lattimore has dogged him in almost every matchup, and that rivalry has gotten chippy. They've gotten in fights against the Saints there, but he was able to finally get one over on him in a game that really he needed to win that matchup and get that touchdown.
I don't know what game I'm more excited about. The young, hungry guys in the AFC.
It's
or
a
the
great
2
game.
future Hall of Famers in the NFC that are on their last legs, but still they have that winning desire and are leading their teams right to the NFC Championship. I mean, like you said, they were looking to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. If he loses this game, do they move on to that draft pick? And if they do, I hope he signs with the Vikings and wins the Super Bowl.
Listen, it's up to Rodgers, I think, what he does with the rest of his Packers career, especially after this MVP season he put together. I don't think they just kind of throw him to the wayside. Of course, we always remember, how his career started, where he had to sit for 3 years behind Brett Favre. So the Packers have shown previously that they're willing to keep a guy on the bench until the incumbent is done with his career with the Packers. So I do think that happens. I think the ball's in Rodgers' court, and I think how the rest of to me, these 2 games that he's got left go determines what his decision is.
All right, so we're running out of time here. I got my hope bombs in, so I'm happy. I'm sure Donnie's happy. We talked a lot of sports this week. We didn't have any guests, but once again, we proved there's no guests needed at Hungry for Hope. We had some fun. We got to talk about some fun stuff. I got to make fun of Ben Simmons and Embiid and complain about how I lost all that money due to Jalen Hurts and Doug Peterson. But, we talked about some hope. We got that across. We got the picks. I mean, another prop bet right there for you. Bet Mike Evans to score a touchdown at any point in the game. But let's close it up. I got one more question, and you'll probably see why it's relevant, even though some people won't see it right away. Phillip Rivers retires.
Oh, man,
So
you got me.
Reich,
That's what I picked this beer for.
Frank Reich needs to replace Phillip Rivers next year.
Oh, you took it in a different direction, but okay.
What quarterback goes to the – if you're Frank Reich, who are you going to go after?
Well, Tim, there's this quarterback that Frank Reich had some success with. I believe he plays for the Eagles right now.
I believe there's one that plays for the Bears that he gave probably his best run as an NFL quarterback too.
I know, but I think if
one's a winner.
I think if you had to pick one between the 2 of them, now it's going to be nearly impossible for the Colts to get Carson Wentz. Maybe Nick Foles ends up on that roster. I can't see him being the incumbent starter there. He's just not that guy, Tim. We know who Nick Foles is. I would like to see the Colts make a run at Carson Wentz, see if maybe we can get a boatload of picks or something like that. But I doubt it happens. It's too prohibitive. But it would be interesting. It's going to be an interesting offseason to see what they do at quarterback. But until then,
if Foles was a little bit younger, you could probably start somebody ahead of him.
Yeah,
pull that person after 2 weeks, and then have Frank Reich coach him up. When he comes off the bench, he wins. He's not a good starter though, but he's probably the greatest backup quarterback of all time.
Off the top of my head, I don't know what Foles' contract looks like, but he might just hang him up. He has
to be at the end of it. I could see him going for a backup job somewhere. Like he could still get paid.
Why not take the paycheck? But he certainly doesn't need it. He's
had
a
quarterback
crazy
coach
career.
For us.
I certainly see coaching in Nick Foles' future. He's definitely got the leadership and everything like that. Players obviously would die for him. We saw that during that great Super Bowl run. So I don't think we're done seeing Nick Foles in football. But Tim, you mentioned Phil Rivers, and I do want to raise my drink to him. Great career. Didn't really accomplish all that maybe he could have. Over 63,000 yards, 400 plus touchdowns in 240 games. Phil Rivers, retire to the South with your children. Enjoy your life. Thank you for entertaining us all these years.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
He's probably not a Hall of Famer. I'll put him in the Donovan McNabb category of players of all time. I think he's a little better than Donovan McNabb. I'd love to see him get in the Hall of Fame. I don't think it happens, but he entertained me for his whole career, a very long career, and I'm glad that he's kind of come to peace with it. And I wish him the best for the rest of his life.
Yeah, at least he got to play in San Diego and not in New York.
There you go.
But all right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. It's been a weird show without having Donnie here, but we got through it. We marched on. The show had to continue. We talked a lot of sports, dropped some hope bombs. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Notice it's 8:02 and not 8 o'clock. It's because we started 2 minutes late. But hey, it happens. Not going to point any fingers. But honestly, thanks, Mike, for putting the show together. You didn't have to. Glad you're feeling better. And make sure you tune in next week. If we're in studio, we're going to have some special guests, hopefully. If not, we're going to come in here and shoot the shit again virtually. But whatever happens, the show must go on. And we'll see you next week, 7 o'clock, Wednesday.